Hey there, Oz.
Hey, Curtis.
Hey, what movie we watching this week?
This week we've got The Love Child of the Man Who Knew Too Much
Okay.
meets Clue
Yeah.
meets Captain Corelli's Mandolin and a splash of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Of course, of course.
This week we're talking about The Third Man.
Easily the oldest movie that we've done.
Yeah, easily the oldest movie.
Yeah, this beat, what was that? That movie with the killer kid.
Bad Seed.
Bad Seed, there we go. Yeah, that was like, what, 56, 57?
Yeah, this is 49.
Going all the way back to the 40s.
Yeah, we did it. So,
yeah.
No, my SpongeBob... My SpongeBob edition I have to throw to my wife, as I already had the first three.
Okay.
And then she was making Father's Day something yesterday, and I was sitting there on the iPad listening to it. She goes, I know you're not watching SpongeBob, but it just sounds like a SpongeBob episode. And I'm like, I told her,
that's in.
I'm adding that to the movie marriage. So,
that's in.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode.
They were serving Krabby Patties
Exactly.
at the little coffee shop.
That's what they kept going to eat. But no, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Let's Talk About Flicks, the podcast where we take a monthly theme, this month being man movies.
Man movies.
And we satisfy it with talking about a movie that fits the theme. So I'm one of your hosts, Oz.
I'm the other host, Curtis.
And we definitely want to give a shout out to our Patreon subscribers, Don S., Aaron A., Mandy K., Melissa L., and Colleen K. Thank you for your patronage. Don being the first man in our patron list.
The first man, not the third. The first
not the
man.
third. He's the So, but yeah, we're talking to sophisticated film this
I know.
week.
I think it's also appropriate that at the time of recording, you mentioned Father's Day. Yesterday was Father's Day in the year of our Lord 2024, and so we're working through man
movies. So, but no, I've seen this one a couple of times. It's one of those, because of how many movies we watch, like I forget how good it is, and I was like, oh, it's such a good movie. Like,
first time for me.
Just tight, like, and that's the beauty of it, is it's like, it's just the early cinema, and I still consider 49 fairly early cinema.
Yeah.
I just feel like
the golden age.
They hadn't like stretched their legs yet on what the media could do, and so fairly tight storytelling. You don't get a lot of like dramatic pauses in conversation.
Yeah, it's
a lot of just real quick back and forth dialogue, and
not a lot of CGI.
No, very minimal CGI in this one. I think they CGI'd out all the turds in the sewers of Vienna.
It was more what they didn't show.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of use of shadows in this one to hide all the turds.
Hide the Vienna turds.
They call them sausages.
The sausages. Oh man, we gotta digitally erase all those sausages.
Oh man. So, but no, we are here with The Third Man, week 3 of Man Movie Month.
Movie.
I've got the plot this week. Yeah. So who are the characters in our film?
Yeah, I'll mention we got about 10 or so characters in this movie, and there's some others that pop up. But we start with what I would consider to be the lead here. Joseph Cotten as Holly Martins. He's an American author, kind of a B-list author is kind of the vibe you get from this.
Yeah, kind of a pulpy kind of thing.
Yeah, and so he's over to visit his friend Harry Lime, played by Orson Welles, in Vienna. We have Anna Schmidt, played by Alida Valli. She is was, I guess, was Harry's love interest, and sort of partners with Holly in some ways here.
Yeah, and easily the femme fatale of our film noir here.
Yes. We got Trevor Howard playing Major Calloway. So because it's post-war Vienna, there's different, there's like a central police department, but there's different like sort of factions within it.
Yep.
So then there's his partner, Sergeant Payne, played by Bernard Lee. We have Baron Kurtz, an associate of Harry, played by Ernst Deutsch.
He's not German though.
No, with a name like Ernst Deutsch. He's Thai, actually.
He's Thai.
Yeah.
His dad was German. Mom was German. Dad was Thai.
Yeah. We have Paul Horbiger as Carl.
I think it's just it sounds pronounced Paul.
Paul Umlaut, Carl Limes, Harry Limes Porter, so the building he lived in. We have Eric Punto as Dr. Winkel, Siegfried Brauer as Popescu, Hedvig Bleebtrau as I'm sure I got the pronunciation right on that one.
That's how it's pronounced now. So.
And as landlady, and Wilfred Hyde White as Krabin.
Yes.
Local sophisticate Krabin.
So, yeah, it's tight little cast.
Yeah.
But they're all, well, with the exception of maybe like Anna's landlady, they're all important. Like, they all play a part here in our film. This one's got some clout. Like, this movie is IMDb top 200, British Film Institute, like one of their top British films of all time. Oscar winner for best cinematography. Like, this is a legit clout movie, and not just because it has a guy named Clout in it somewhere.
There's somebody in there with the name Clout. This movie's got clout, literally.
Yeah, it's the little boy.
he's the fourth man.
Yeah, but
it's so stupid.
Oh my!
I'm gonna be chuckling about that whole episode. This episode's got clout, literally.
He's there.
He's there. Just you gotta look for him. I'm done. Moving on.
Fair enough.
What do we got for the plot of the third man, here, Oz?
It's a very simple premise at its start, and it's Holly Martin, an American author, comes to, like you said, post-war Vienna. He's been brought over by his lifelong friend, Harry Lime.
Yeah.
Holly's kind of down on his luck. He is a published author, but like we mentioned, it's kind of trashy novel kind of stuff. It's just like Western fiction, to where it's so niche that if you're not into it, then you don't even know who this guy is.
Yeah.
But Harry's offered him a job. Like, come on over to Vienna, chap.
Yeah.
Old man, as he calls him.
Old man. Yep.
Come on over, old man. I've got a job for you. He flies him over, has a place to put him up. Like, Holly shows up, like, I'm ready to start anew.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Literally, we're literally like 2-3 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, we hop right into it.
Yeah.
Holly gets there, shows up at, like, Lime's place, which, to be fair, like, Holly, who'd never been to Vienna, he figured out how to get around Vienna pretty quick.
Yes, he did. and Vienna is like 4 square blocks, by the way.
Right. It's the neighborhood of Vienna.
Yeah.
They're in Hoboken.
Hoboken. Berwyn.
Exactly. And so he shows up at Harry's door. He's knocking, waiting for him. And the porter guy at the building is like, who are you looking for? And I'm looking for Harry. He's dead.
Yeah.
And it's like, just completely rocks Holly.
Just
like,
blindsides Holly, because they had literally communicated, like a week prior.
Yeah. He's like, what do you mean he's dead? He's like, he was killed by a car crossing the street.
Yeah, last Thursday.
So Holly, because he has nowhere to stay, like, still has his luggage in hand.
Yeah. He's been told that his best friend is dead, and he's in this unknown city, post-war.
Yeah. And his funeral is going on right now, basically.
Yeah.
So he goes to the funeral, and again, suitcase in hand. He's just, he doesn't appear like completely like in shock or dumbstruck, but he's still just like, it's just almost like, is this real? Like, I'm going through all this. So, at Harry's funeral, he sees a woman there, which we do eventually meet as Anna. Mm-hmm. He also meets a couple of British police, like Royal Military Police officers, which there's the aforementioned, Calloway and Payne. Payne's a big fan. Like, I've read your books. Like, he recognizes Holly.
Yeah, he like fanboys over Holly.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Yeah, but it's not like geeky. It's just like
he's kind of like elbowing Calloway.
Yeah,
like, this is so and so.
It's Holly Martin's. To which Calloway's like, I don't know who that is. Yeah. So, but
Calloway comes across a little more sophisticated,
a little bit. Yeah,
than Payne.
and so because again, he's going to the police. They're looking at, because it basically is like, I don't know what to do. And so, Calloway's like, don't worry, we'll get you on a plane tomorrow. Like, we'll fly you home. We'll take care of you. But Holly's like, I want to, like, I don't know what's going on. Like I want to know what's going on. And Calloway's like, well, we're going to get you on a plane though. Like, you stay tonight, we'll get you on a plane tomorrow.
And Holly's just questioning things like, my friend, wouldn't be involved with like gangsters, bad people.
Like, no,
whatever you're accusing him of, he's innocent.
Not my friend Harry. And to which Calloway's just, okay, like, sure. Like, we know your friend better than you know your friend.
Yeah.
As they're at the it's not really a hotel, but as it might be. I lose track of what the buildings are in this movie.
Yeah, there's a little bit to keep. It's hard to keep up with where they are sometimes.
Because it's like, are they all apartments? Are they, like, who knows? But anyway, Krabbin, who's kind of the guy in charge of whatever building they're in, he's looking for a speaker at a book club, like this coming Wednesday or something. Yeah. To which the only reason it gets involved is because Payne is like, hey, well, he's a writer. Yeah. So Krabbin is willing to put Holly up as long as he needs to stay in exchange for speaking at this book club.
Yeah.
So that is how Holly kind of skirts Calloway's ushering him out of the city.
Yeah.
Is like, I got to speak at this thing. So Holly goes on, he goes on the investigative trail. He goes all PI here.
Yeah. He's trying to clear his friend's name.
Meets up with Baron Kurtz, and, as he's going along, Holly realizes that, like, this is odd. Like, if Harry was hit by a car and carried across the street, how come the people that were on hand to carry him were, like, his two closest people? Like, Baron Kurtz.
How's that for coincidence? Yeah.
And Popescu of, like, and Baron Kurtz is, they did a great job with the casting in this film.
Yeah.
And I get to that a little bit later too, as, they're by all means, like, to us here in 2024, they're no-name actors, but at the same time, like, they fit the role. Like, this guy just looks
shady.
He just looks sneaky and, like you said, shady. But Kurtz is just like, Popescu and I, we carried him. He died instantaneously, and then a few minutes later, he's like, "Oh, he was expressing he wanted to make sure that you were taken care of." To which Holly's like, "Thought you said he died instantaneously."
Yeah.
Well, he died before the doctor got there.
So which one is it?
Yeah. So, like, it's nothing's really lining up, and Holly's paying too much attention to these guys.
He's really leaning in here. He's really invested in this.
And so, it's, well, before he died, wanted to make sure that you and Anna are taken care of. So, Holly meets up with Anna, and introduces himself. And Anna is just distraught. Like, she is just melancholy. She's, sad. She plays, if The Way We Were had been written yet, she'd have been playing that on piano.
Can't rain all the time.
Exactly. Anna Schmidt as Eric Draven.
Big fan of Sting.
Yeah, she's big fan of Sting.
Yeah, Crow era Sting.
She is, Anna Schmidt played Sadness in the Inside Out movies.
Yeah, she gave Kurtz a stinger splash at one point.
I didn't see her face paint come up in the second act of this one. That surprised me.
Well, at one point, she even just verbally speculates as to whether or not it was an accident, which really, again, got Holly's attention.
Yeah, because he's still trying to gather the pieces before he even puts any pieces together. Yeah. And you're right. For her to be like, wonder if it's even an accident. She's
and for Holly,
cigarettes
I think
out on her arm as she says it. Just want to feel something other than
I need to feel something.
Sadness.
Well, but I think for Holly, hearing someone else speculate as well really validated his kind of take on this, and that really kind of took him from, like, kind of nosing around to really investigating.
Yeah, and so, and all along, people just kind of don't get involved. Like, just, you don't want to get involved.
Just stay out of this. They all know something's up.
So the two of them are, they're still asking around about Harry's death. And of course, they realize like you said, all the information they're getting kind of doubles back on itself. Were there two men involved with carrying the body, or hence the title, The Third Man? Yeah.
So Carl, Harry's building porter, is the one who points that out to him. Like, there was a third man there.
Yeah, he didn't see him get hit, but he heard it. And of course, even like Kurtz had led on that, like, it was Harry's own driver that hit him.
Yeah.
So you've got Kurtz and Popescu, Harry's two closest guys, carrying him across the street because his own driver hit him. And like you said, Carl heard it. And as he looked at the window, he saw three people carrying him across the street. And nobody could tie down who this third man is.
Yeah.
And so, later, because Holly's still walking around outside, and Carl's like, "Are you still doing this?" Because early on, when Carl would be talking to Holly, his wife would always chime in.
Yeah.
Basically, shut up.
Yeah.
Don't get involved.
Don't get involved in this, because she knows what's up.
Yeah. Holly even is like, well, why didn't you talk to the police? He's like, I didn't want to get involved.
Nope.
So Carl sees Holly still walking around, trying to like retrace the accident. And he hollers out to him like, my wife's going to be gone later. Stop by. Let's talk. Okay. So Holly's like, great. I'm finally going to get information out of this guy. But when Holly gets back there, like later that evening, finds out that Carl's been murdered.
Yep.
Or Carl's dead. Carl's dead. So, of course, we see that he's murdered. We actually don't see the murder, and we don't see the murderer.
Yeah, but there was a fun little sequence of, I think Carl was yelling out the window to Holly, and then the camera kind of stays with Carl, and he turns around and has a look of surprise and kind of terror on his face.
It just kind of freezes a little bit of like, like I shouldn't have gotten involved.
Yep, should have listened to my wife.
That's right. Wives are smart.
There's the lesson here.
The wives are smart.
Listen to your wife.
And so Martin's, Holly then is with Calloway. Calloway's he's been trying so hard to just get Holly out of Vienna. Yeah. Like, just leave. Well, like Calloway knows, Holly doesn't know as much as Holly thinks he knows.
Yeah.
Like, Calloway is more familiar with how the inner workings of the seedy underbelly of Vienna work, how involved Harry Lime was in this.
Yeah. He's kind of trying to save Holly from himself.
He really is. You're better off not knowing what I know.
Maintain the image of your friend Harry that you have.
Right. Yeah. Whatever you remember, live with it. Yeah. And so, Holly's like, you got to investigate Harry's death. Like, this can't be accidental. And Calloway finally just rips the Band-Aid off, and he's like, fine. You want to know what's up? Your friend Harry has been involved with some pretty awful black market stuff.
Yeah, and it was showing him in evidence and everything. Probably broke a couple of rules there, but
he's been he's been involved with stolen penicillin from military hospitals, and then diluting that penicillin and selling it on the black market, which then people are thinking it's going to help cure their children.
Mm-hmm.
And it's killing them because it's not enough to do anything.
Yeah.
And, and of course, Holly's just like, like, this is not what I wanted to know, but okay.
Yeah. Calloway. I love that scene where Calloway just says, "Told ya!"
In your face. And so, Holly's like, fine, I'll leave. Like, because he was like, I'll take you right now, but first I got to stop somebody somewhere real quick. Got to return some videotapes.
I got to return some videotapes.
But of course, runs them by like this children's hospital where, the director's cut of this shows all of these like mangled, grotesque children.
Oh, really?
No, I'm kidding.
Like, wow, that really went to an extreme I wasn't expecting.
No, there's no deleted scene in this movie.
Yeah, you sold me for a second there.
Just, disgusting. Tom Savini did the effects.
Cronenberg shot that sequence.
Exactly. They're all like Yeah. Oh, just maggoty and
One of them has a VHS in their stomach. And,
they've got openings in their armpits, and so he agrees to leave. Can you get me that flight? It's first thing in the morning. Well, we'll get you out there. So Holly then naturally, of course, does the responsible thing. It just goes and sits in his room and waits until tomorrow morning. And of course not. He he goes to visit Anna, which he is starting to fall for her.
He's kind of smitten by her.
Yeah, which don't blame him. She's the only the only female of age in this movie. Everyone else is like
she's the only one in Vienna.
Yeah, this tight core. Well, aside from the other actresses,
but they don't live in Vienna.
No, they commute. From Jersey City, from Atlantic City,
from Jersey City. You take the L.
So Holly's been drinking. He goes and visits Anna.
Brings her flowers.
Yeah, he looks out the window and sees somebody coming toward, crossing the street. Well, we see them. Yeah. We see them. But after he sees Holly in the window, he ducks into the shadows, which we get a fun. It seems kind of obvious, but I really do enjoy it when the writing is good enough that you could add little nuggets, like when Holly's trying to pet Anna's cat, and Anna's like, the cat's the only man she liked was Harry.
Harry, yeah,
and of course he's dead. He's dead. So. The only man she likes is Harry, and then cut to this person who sees Holly in the window, and then backs into the shadows. Holly leaves, and and he suspects he's being tailed because he knows there's more. He now knows there's more to this Harry Lime stuff. So as he's leaving, he sees this person in the shadow. We know who it is because the cat had gone outside, and the cat comes up to the feet of this person in the shadow and kind of starts snuggling with it.
Nuzzling up to the feet.
And I really enjoy that level of filmmaking where you're telling us who it is without telling us who it is.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you weren't paying enough attention during that little dialogue, this wouldn't have made any sense to you. And so it just feels like, this I'm in on a secret kind of thing. So Holly's standing there and he's kind of yelling at this person in the shadows, like, I know you're tailing me. What do you want? And then out of the shadow steps Harry.
Yeah.
Well, not out of the shadow. A lady upstairs, because he's yelling. She opens up her bedroom window and turns the light on to yell, and that light exposes Harry in the shadows.
Just kind of a sly grin on his face.
Yeah. So Holly's just like I can't believe what I'm seeing here. And like you said, Harry just kind of smiles at him. Car drives by. Harry's no longer there. So, he realizes he's run off. So Holly chases after him, running through the streets of Vienna, which apparently has a curfew of dark. If it's dark, you must be in your own home.
Yep. Nobody's on the streets.
No one's on the streets of Vienna. Chases him into the public square and just loses him.
Yeah.
Nobody's there, but he has no idea where he went. He's just gone.
Just disappears.
Right. So Martin's then, on the eve of his leaving, goes back to Calloway, is basically like, forget it. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
I saw Harry. I saw him. You got to come check it out. So Calloway and Payne are like, all right, let's go. And Calloway realizes that there's this kiosk type thing. There's this pillar of an announcement pillar or whatever. And Calloway realizes
selling tickets for the Wisconsin Dells duck boats.
Exactly. Yeah. It's have you seen my dog? Duck boats. Wisconsin. And so people looking for roommates and but he realizes that that covers an access to the sewer. Mm-hmm. So they go down there and realize that you probably were right. You probably were chasing Harry, and he left into the sewers, which lead back to the Russian sector. Because like you mentioned, Vienna's got all these sectors and factions
like
of
territories almost.
Yeah. So that's enough to get Calloway back on the team of, okay, let's
maybe
dig
there
a
is
little
something
deeper.
more to this. Yeah.
Well, throughout all this conversation, there was a third man's name was brought up. I can't remember his name. It doesn't matter. We never even see him.
Joseph something.
There you go. Yeah, it's Joseph something. And
Joseph Harbin.
Yeah. And he was the third man. Well, he was also the one that was on the military bases or the military hospitals that was getting the penicillin. So he was part of this racket as well. And nobody's been able to find him. As a matter of fact, Calloway's like, we lost contact with him like a week ago. Well, they go and exhume Harry's coffin and find Joseph Harbin.
Yep.
So
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, Harry's not dead. It's Harbin that's dead. Yeah. They staged Harry's death when they actually killed Harbin and put Harbin in the grave.
I did find it a little odd during the exhuming scene where they realize it's Harbin, where Calloway jumps into the casket and picks up Harbin's skull and starts talking. Look, everybody, it's me. It's me, Joseph.
I stole the penicillin. Case closed. Yeah, Calloway, I didn't see that. Pretty sophisticated guy. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Payne loved it. Like just
he was just
double.
They
all were actually. Yeah. Anna thought it was funny. Like,
she was just guffawing.
Well, she acts in comedies, so she really enjoys comedy. Yeah. So it was, and then that musical number right afterwards, it was great stuff.
The third man.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. It was good comedy. We didn't mention that this is a comedy, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of slapstick.
Yeah. And so, where was my notes? There,
exhuming the body.
Yeah,
playing with the skull. Yeah, then
there we go. But yeah, so they realize they kind of put all the pieces together. That Harry's obviously still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Harbin is the one in the casket, and so now case is back open.
Yeah.
Now earlier in the film, Anna's apartment had kind of been ransacked because she's Czech, and so the police were looking through her stuff and found that her papers had been forged.
Mm-hmm.
And Harry did that for her. Like Harry got her papers done for her so she could be there. So Calloway and crew are also going to get her out of the country. She's to be sent to the Soviet sector because she's Czech and this is still part of the Soviet Union. So Anna's going to get the bounce over to the Soviet sector. Calloway is certain that this is where Harry's at.
Yeah.
And so, and of course, Holly is still, let's just face it, Holly's American. I can't let you guys do it. I'm the American.
Yeah, it's me, entitled American.
Tell me more. Tell me everything. This isn't good enough. I have to be involved. So Anna's being questioned again, etc. Holly then goes to seek out Kurtz and Popescu. Basically, hey, I want to see Harry.
Yeah. Just flat out says, I know he's alive. I want to see my friend.
I know what's going on. I want to see him. Well, come on up. No, it was Kurtz and Wiener. Yeah.
Winkel. Wiener.
Wiener was the name. Looking here in my notes, that's the name of the Ferris wheel. So I got it mixed up.
Thought maybe it was the name of the little dog, Kurtz's little dog. Wiener.
Wiener dog.
Goes back to our earlier conversation through text as well.
Exactly. Which we'll get to. Yeah, Kurtz and Winkel are like, come on up, Holly. And Holly's like,
I'm a smart American. I'm not gonna fall for that.
Can't get me. I'll be over here on the Ferris wheel.
Yes.
On the gigantic Ferris wheel. I will have my one-on-one meeting with Harry Lime there, not upstairs with you guys. So he does. Harry comes running around the corner. gets on the Ferris wheel, and they go for a ride.
Yeah. Really cool scene.
Yeah, it really was. And so just Harry's just, hey, old man, how's it going? You know,
and Holly's just not having it.
No, he's like, the jig is up. I think that was in the script. The jig is up, Harry.
And Harry responded with, the jig is not up.
Right.
And Holly said,
and the jig's down.
What is this?
Writing fell apart a little bit here. But Harry basically is like, hey, look, why don't you shut up? Or I could kill you right here.
Yeah, he's really both subtly and not so subtly threatening him. Like he has a gun. Like, I could push you out of here right now. Like he opens the door at one point.
Like, I could shoot you, and by the time you hit the ground, no one's going to question anything. Yeah. So, so that was enough for Holly to be like, yeah, that's not my friend. That's not my friend anymore. That's Dirty Harry. That's not, clean Harry.
Dirty Harry was a sequel to this.
It was, because at one point when Holly was talking to him and Harry opened the door and he looked at him, he goes, "You feeling lucky?"
Yeah. Like, make my day.
Yeah. You think you can take me? Go head on.
Also, a spin-off of this.
Yeah. A lot of influence this movie's had on cinema.
Yeah, Jodan Baker was best boy for this movie.
Yeah, well, that one was in Malta. This was in Vienna. Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Final Justice. You got an American overseas trying to solve a crime. Yeah, it's basically Jodan Baker's remake of The Third Man.
They should have called it The Fourth Man.
The Fourth Man, Jodan Baker,
starring Jodan Baker.
It's a sequel to The Third Man. I was there the whole time. You think you can take me?
Go ahead on.
But yeah, Harry kind of threatens him, and then just like the one trip around the Ferris wheel is over, and Harry takes off again. So basically, it's stay out of my business and go home.
Go home, live your life.
That's enough for Holly to be like, I'm not going home.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see, he realizes, even though it's his lifelong best friend, Harry's wrong. Like, what he's
going
doing,
to do something about it.
What he's doing is wrong, and he needs to be held accountable for it. So he goes to Calloway, and he's like,
he seeks final justice.
He does. He goes, I think I can take him. Let's go head on.
Let's go head on. Meanwhile, Jodan Baker's taking notes on set.
Yeah.
Gonna come back to this.
Good. That's good.
36 years.
From the craft table. That's good. That's real good.
He was talking about the bear claws.
Exactly. Yeah. Taking all his notes on a cocktail napkin as he's eating a sandwich.
Literally writing on a Danish.
Ooh, that's good. Jodan Leaf. Ooh, that's good.
That's good Danish.
Good mayonnaise on that Danish. So Calloway asks Holly, like, basically, will you help us get him? And he's like, yeah, I'll help you get him because he needs to go down. But Martin agrees. I got one condition. Anna leaves Vienna, safely. Like, we're not going to send her. She just let her go.
Yeah.
And Calloway's like, that's fine. They got it all set up. We're going to put her on a train. We're going to get her out of here. Mm-hmm. But Holly, being the dumb American, can't, he loves Anna.
Yeah. Can't leave well enough alone.
So he wants to see her off and then go into a extremely well-lit building so she can see him from the train. And then she just exits the train and goes in and confronts him. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, she sniffs it out really fast, too.
Yeah. She's pretty smart. Really.
Yeah, she's pretty clever.
She's just like, I see what's going on now. And Holly's like, you're right,
Yeah.
But
he calls him on it, like, you're helping Calloway, aren't you?
Yeah. And he just comes clean. He's like, here's what's going on. I'm going to help him take down Harry because Harry's bad and I'm good and he deserves to be taken down.
Just like one of my Westerns.
Yeah. And she wants no part of it.
Yeah, because ultimately she still loves Harry.
Right. Yeah, she does. And she wants no part of it. So, this is when I got a little ahead of myself. This is when Holly then goes back to Calloway and changes his mind yet again. I'm out. I'm not helping. Get me on a plane. I want to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to leave. This is when Calloway takes them to like the children's hospital where all these kids are like dying of meningitis who thought they were being treated with this diluted penicillin. So Holly, being the American, quickly can't make a decision on his own because he's influenced by media. Like, he's just like, okay, yeah, I'm back in. Okay, I saw all these kids. I'm back in. Yeah. So, and that actually spawned the NSPCA commercials, all those, it was this scene was like, oh, so if we put tragedy on screen, we can convince people to do the right thing.
There's a direct line from the third man to Sarah McLachlan.
Mm-hmm. There, like direct phone line, like
it's
from the set.
Yeah, it's like a cup and string.
Yeah, Sarah McLachlan did all of Anna's lines in the Fourth Man remake. So
starring Jodan Baker.
But no, like, do you remember? You don't see much anymore, and I understand why. But there was a time like all these like NSPCA commercials with the animals. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the time where they would show all these like all the children with like cleft palates and hair lips and those are pretty awful too. Yeah. And I'm glad they don't show those anymore. At least I don't think they show those anymore. I don't watch a lot of television, but I haven't seen many stations where they're like parading out a bunch of children with birth defects.
I'm pretty sure on like Tubi and Pluto and all those like free ones, there's just a channel that's dedicated to.
That's true.
Yeah.
And it's probably the only ads during the 700 Club.
Yeah.
Right. But
the 700 Club wouldn't share that.
Yeah, they would, but they just wouldn't share the money that they get in donations.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, they would. Yeah.
And so Holly changes his mind again. I'm in. Let's
I'm
get
back
this.
in.
Yep. So they've got it set up that, Harry is, let's see, how was it set up here?
They kind of had, they had Holly in like a coffee shop.
Yeah. There's the only light on in the street. They got Holly in a coffee shop.
Like trying to draw out Harry, basically.
And Anna shows up. And then Holly and Anna are kind of arguing. The police are everywhere. Like they've got, almost everywhere, except the back door. They've got everywhere scoped out around this place. It's pretty intense scene, really, because they know they're trying to bait Harry. Harry comes in through the back door. And Anna, warns him, the police basically, the police are coming, you got to get out of here. And so Harry takes off throughout the back. And of course, it's war-torn Vienna. So it's not like every street is well paved. There's crumbled buildings and debris. So, they're sliding all over. The police are chasing him. He does the whole, I'm going to escape through the sewer tunnels again. This time the police are prepared. And there are a lot of police chasing after Harry Lime.
Several dozen.
Yes, lots and lots of police chasing after Harry Lime. They're following him around. They're cutting off the exits.
But Harry knows the sewer system well. This is his hideout.
Yeah, he played. I think wasn't Harry Lime the original name of the lizard in this Spider-Man universe, right?
Yes, yeah, it was Harry Lime.
Connors.
Yeah, Harry Lime Connors.
Yeah.
Orson Welles at one point, they had to stop him. He almost chopped off his arm just because he really wanted to get into character as the lizard.
He did. I heard that. And he wasn't even cast in the role. This was his audition.
No, yeah, the lizard wasn't even created. Hadn't been created for 15 years, but it
was his idea to create the lizard.
Yes, it all came out of this. Stan Lee got the idea from this movie.
He was best boy on this film.
Him and Jodan Baker. They were the best boys.
They were the best boys.
There was two.
Jodan was a man. Let's not kid ourselves.
They were best boy and best man.
He's the best man.
He showed up in a tux every day.
just eating bear claws dipped in mayo.
Man is good.
Taking notes. Oh man. And so
this episode is just everywhere.
A little bit. Well, if we just stayed as sophisticated as this film is, it would have been a boring episode. So Lime he kills Payne.
Yeah.
Like Lime's desperate at this point. Like even Orson Welles does not have a very large role in this film, but he's acting the heck out of this role.
Yeah,
like the fear on his face or whatever. So Lime shoots, he kills Payne. Calloway gets a shot off and really wounds Harry. Harry's dragging himself, kind of it's just kind of a classic scene as he's dragging himself up this like cast iron, like just spiral stairway to get back up to the street grating.
You see it's really cool shot too, like from the street level of his fingers emerging out of the grate. Yeah,
but he can't lift it. He's just so weak now. Holly finds Harry at that grating, and they kind of exchange a look. Because it's just that whole like, it's my friend. So Calloway, basically yelling at Holly, just don't take a chance. If you see him, shoot him.
Yeah, shoot him.
Yeah. And so we get those two like off on their own, Holly and Harry, and we hear a shot. But not after, I got a little ahead of myself there. We see a look between Harry and Holly. Like Harry knows I'm gone. Like I'm caught, and just kind of nods like, go ahead, like finish this off. And really, as his friend, Holly shoots him, kills him. Like he's been told to do it anyway, but he picked up Payne's gun and had the beat on Harry, and Harry basically gave him permission. Go ahead, like I finish this off. So he does. We get a really cool shot of all like the end of this tunnel in the sewers, all of this steam or fog or whatever, and we see someone coming out, and it's Holly, like he had done it. So the movie wraps up pretty much how it began. Yeah. Harry's funeral, Holly is there. Calloway is there. They're going to get him to the plane to get him out of Vienna. Mm-hmm. Anna walked off just like she did at the beginning. They drive by, they feel, it's, and Holly just can't let it go. So he's like, just let's wait a minute, and Calloway's like, we don't have a lot of time. He's like, just hold on. So they stop at the end of the road, and Holly gets out, and the camera just sits there as we watch Anna walk towards the camera. I mean, it's a pretty long shot.
Yeah, it is. It is literally and figuratively a long shot.
Yeah, it's it feels like a couple of minutes. It probably isn't that long, but as she's walking in real time towards the camera, Holly's waiting for her. I mean, you could tell he wants to talk to her. She just ignores him. Like, doesn't even look his way.
Just doesn't flinch at all.
Just walks right past him, walks right past the camera, and that's the film.
That's The Third Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, good movie, Oz.
It really is.
Movie, yeah.
It really is. I'm glad we brought that to the table.
Yeah. So, hey, at this point in the show, Oz and I each give our own unique rating to the film we've been yapping about, 1949's The Third Man. Hey, Oz, how would you rate this flick?
I'm going to give this 9 femme fatales.
Ooh, 9 femme fatales.
What are you giving it?
I'm going to give it The Third Man.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my rating. The third man. The Third Man.
Yep. I didn't mention that there is there's a very classic speech that Harry gives on the Ferris wheel. Mm-hmm. And I've got it here. I found it. I forgot I was going to mention it. But when Harry and Holly are on that Ferris wheel, and Harry's even looking down, and he's like, would you, if one of these dots, talking about the people, like if one of these dots stopped moving, would it even matter? Like, would it even care? And he gives the famous speech. You know what the fella said? In Italy for 30 years under the bourgeois, they had warfare, terror, murder, and bloodshed. But they produced Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and the rest in the Renaissance. In Switzerland, they had brotherly love. They had 500 years of democracy and peace. And what did they produce? The cuckoo clock. And then it pretty much leaves from there. Yeah. So very famous line of dialogue from this movie. I forgot it was from
That's also kind of like saying like only people with tortured lives can be, can produce art.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at like musicians and stuff,
exactly.
Like, the Kurt Cobain.
I was going to say Kurt Cobain.
And, it's I don't think you need trauma to produce art, but that's
No.
what he's going for here.
Right.
Basically he's trying to justify his own actions.
Yeah, and even to take that kind of like tortured musician, like, I mean, even though and trauma is so different on so many different levels.
Mhm.
Like, how much attention has Taylor Swift gotten for writing about breakups? You know, it's
Mhm.
like for her and her palatial lifestyle, like that's probably about the excessive trauma that she gets is, oh, another breakup. Well, another song. Like,
Yeah.
so be it. But yeah, you're right though. And that's basically what he's saying. He's like, hey, I'm just capitalizing on the troubles.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Harry's really a bad person.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey folks, our next bit in Let's Talk About Flicks World is Outside Insights. Oz and I have been scouring the interwebs, searching for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and we hope they tickle yours as well. Hey Oz, what's your outside insight?
My outside insight comes from Amazon. It's a 1-star review from Finn. He said, yeah, Finn, as in like the end of a French film. He says, if you'll trade plot holes for bygone cinematography, this is for you. He says, while the set, tone, and ambiance of the movie is compelling, we cannot allow our senses to be so overwhelmed as to herald such poorly written story, completely ridden with plot holes. There is no good reason for any of this to have taken place. Why is the man invited to work for Harry Lime? The why looms heavily in the background as the story slowly ties up. No good reason is ever given. In short, my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined.
Wow, that escalated fast.
I know.
Immeasurable and my day is ruined.
Yeah, well, you measured it with 1 star, so
yeah. It's immeasurable 1 star.
It's like I love that. It's like the movie was good, the plot holes were bad. My day is ruined.
Woe is me! Woe is me! Well, both of us did the same.
I know.
Back of hand to forehead. Oh, the pain of it all.
Agony. Oh, what do you have for your outside insight?
Mine, as always, comes from the Internet Movie Database. This is a 2 out of 10 review left in May of 2005 by Id's Ego. So we got a Freud fan here. It's a noir classic, yes, but could anyone hear it? The audio is awful. Awful. Again, the dialogue is barely hearable. Maybe they cleaned it up for DVD. I don't know. I saw it on VHS. It seems the Brits really didn't know how to do audio back then. Then goes on to say, I am not a real film buff. I just know what I like. And this was a disappointment since I did have high expectations. So I don't think this guy knows how to use quotation.
I don't think so.
I'm not a real film buff.
Right. I'd like to know then, like, what this guy likes.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, I get it. Maybe you don't like black and white films. Maybe you don't like old films. Like, but by and large, like, you watch this and you're like, this is just a good movie. It's just a great movie. Great,
but I couldn't hear it.
Yeah,
awful.
Stupid Brits
can't hear anything. Their accents got in the way of their audio.
But yeah, it's I do. Whenever these people like they take just a classically great film and then bash it, I'm like, what's your taste?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is it for you? Is it
what are you really looking for then?
Paul Blart? Like, is that your go-to?
Not enough Kevin James in this movie.
No.
Nope. Well, hey folks, it's that point in the show you've all been waiting for, our signature segment, the 3-2-1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about this week's movie, The Third Man. Hey Oz, what are your 3 goods?
My first is just the great use of shadow in this film.
Yeah.
It's easy to do when you're shooting black and white, really, but really, just that's my first. The great use of shadow. I think that and some of the Dutch angles really led to why this movie won Best Cinematography Oscar that year. Of course. But great use of shadow. My second, I really enjoyed that long shot at the end of Anna walking down the road.
I was going to mention that if you weren't.
So much of this film is Dutch angles, quick cuts, fun angles, really.
Yeah.
Like, shooting from above, shooting from below, shooting through prison grade, or not prison grades, but just a lot. And then this one is literally just set the camera up. Anna walk towards the camera.
Yeah.
Holly, which I know that, Joseph, you just stand over there and just stay involved until we say cut. And it just let it play out. And it's just such a different dynamic of shot than we've seen at all in this movie, but it tells so much at the same time. And my third one is I really do enjoy older films because a lot of times there's the unfamiliarity with older actors allows us to accept them as their character.
Yeah.
You watch today, the first Tom Cruise movie you watch, if you've never seen a Tom Cruise movie, okay, then that's the character. But then you start to build up and you realize, okay, Tom Cruise is in so much that, same with Denzel, that they're all kind of the same character to a degree. But you watch older ones like this, I can't tell you another Joseph Cotten movie.
Yeah.
To where when I'm watching it, like that's Holly Martin's, like that's just who it is.
Yeah.
And so when you get Kurtz's character and you get Winkle's character and like all of these,
I think you mispronounced it. It's Wiener.
Wiener.
It's Wiener.
When you get all of these classic actors in roles that we just aren't familiar with their filmography, it allows us to feel like this is. Granted, we know we're watching a film, but it just feels like we buy into it a little bit more.
Sure. Yeah, it's very authentic.
Yeah, because it's like, I've never seen that guy in anything else.
Mm-hmm.
There certainly are movie stars of that era where it carries through, like Humphrey Bogart and, Gregory Peck. And, it's like you see those guys in a lot of stuff. But really, you watch this and it's like Joseph Cotten is the main character, but Orson Welles is the name you hear.
Yeah.
And
these days, you got these prima donna actors who just phone it in, like Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, jerks.
Jeremy
Irons.
Yeah, I know. Every time I see Daniel Day-Lewis in a film, I'm like, that's Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, he's Daniel Day-Lewising all over the place.
Yeah. Try harder.
Yeah, exactly. I felt the same way about Philip Seymour Hoffman. I'm like, God, I see right through this guy.
All I see is Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Capote.
No, I don't see the guy from Boogie Nights.
The guy from Boogie Nights.
I can't think of his name.
I know. It was a fun role.
Yeah, it was. A sad role for him.
Yeah, very sad, but fun for us in the audience.
Can I kiss you on the mouth?
I forgot about that.
So those are my three goods. What do you got?
Smooth segue. My three goods. Let's start with the conversation on the wheel between Holly and Harry.
Mm-hmm.
Like really tense. Great acting by both of those actors, and just contained in this sort of claustrophobic atmosphere. Harry's like he's thrilled to see his friend, but he's also threatening him at the same time. And that was one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. My second good, I'm actually going to combine a couple of possible goods I had here. But pre-show we were kind of talking and chatting a little bit, and I described this movie as like a proto action movie.
Yeah,
in some ways, like it's not an action movie, but there's hints of kind of what's to come, and there's a couple of moments in this movie where you get those hints of of this movie kind of laying the groundwork for action sequences.
Mm-hmm.
And one was the driver taking Holly to the speaking engagement. At one point, Holly went back to the hotel, and there was a guy who was waiting for him, and you thought that he was basically there to kill him.
I did too. Like, I'd forgotten about the speaking engagement.
Yeah.
Just like Holly did.
Yeah. And so, he throws him in this car, and Holly, even on the way, he's like, so you're going to kill me, right?
Yeah.
And the driver's not answering, and he's speeding around corners, and tires squealing, but he's just taking him to the speaking engagement.
Right, yeah.
And then later, as you mentioned before, like the sewer sequence, with the kind of the cat and mouse game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of literal motion involved. And then that last shot, which I was describing to Patreon subscriber Melissa L as a James Cameron shot.
Yes.
Of Holly emerging at the end of the sewer tunnel, backlit and fog and smoke everywhere. This figure emerging there. So
right.
Yeah, again, proto action movie in some ways.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And my last good, Kurtz's tiny dog. What a cute little dog.
It was a cute little guy.
What a cute little dog Kurtz had. So those are my three goods. Hey, Oz, what are your two bads?
My first one is just this is 1949, and we still have American behavior abroad.
Uh-huh.
Like,
we are well defined. We are well known for how awful we are.
I mean, this movie is closing in on 80 years old, 75 years old.
Some things change, some things don't.
Yeah, and so
Americans
when you see Americans' behavior abroad, and you're like, I mean, and granted, to be fair, he wasn't like an obnoxious tourist. He's just an entitled American.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to tell me, I got to know. So that's my first bad. And my second, this originally was a but I moved it to my bads, is I agree with my outside insight review a little bit in that, why did Harry bring Holly to Vienna?
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure that I like to piece it together enough to be like, I don't think Harry bringing Holly to Vienna had anything to do with then Harry's like death. You know, I think those were on two different timelines. I don't think they intentionally overlapped. You know, I don't think Harry brought Holly to then investigate Harry kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just think whatever things were getting hot for Harry, and this was his out. And I think that was a bit more coordinated and impromptu than bringing Holly over. But still, like, you know, you brought him over, and then this is what he walked into.
Yeah.
And it's like, oof. So that was my second bad. It's just that explanation was never there. And especially with that whole conversation, I mean, that whole conversation, that could have been added to the Ferris wheel scene of like, so why'd you bring me here? You know, or like, but it just wasn't. It just wasn't addressed. Was all. Not a big one. Like we talked before, we had a hard time finding bads and hunts for this one. But that was one. It was like, you know, like, okay, why were you there? What was the job you were going to have? Like, I just wanted to know more about it. So that was my two bads. What do you got?
My two bads, I'm going to start with, and I originally had this as a so it kind of walks that line between a bad and a so it'll read more like a on the way to the airport, Calloway tells Holly, I need to stop for an errand, and then instead brings Holly to the children's hospital to show him, you know, what Harry's actions, the consequences, and how children are literally dying. And then they get inside, and you know, Calloway kind of expositions like, oh, we're here at the children's hospital, like as they're in this ward. Right. So did Holly not realize that they were at a children's hospital until Calloway said we're at a children's hospital out loud?
Like I mentioned earlier, it was confusing to know what building you were in.
That's true.
So they all look the same.
Every building is identical until you get inside.
I think there's only one building. Like, Anna lives on one floor, Harry lives on one floor, Children's Hospital's on another. Yeah. Down below, it's just the one building left standing in Vienna.
It's like an idiocracy where every store is Costco.
Exactly. The police headquarters is on the fifth floor.
It's all right there. It's
all just that one building.
It's all one building, yep. So I guess that's my first bad. It's like Holly not realizing where they are until he's looking at dying children.
Until they walk into the ward. Like,
it's a hospital. Oh, that would explain all the doctors.
That explains the hospital sign.
Yeah, I guess that makes it checks out now. And my other bad is Holly falling in love with Anna so quickly.
Yeah.
I get it. It heighten the emotional tension in this movie and the connection between the characters, but like, come on, man, he'd literally been there like 72 hours and he's fallen all over Anna.
And it also was pretty unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like, I mean, I understand that Anna was going to be shipped off to the Russian sector, but let's not kid ourselves. That's where Harry was.
Yeah.
That was also, I think, probably orchestrated.
Actually, I think Anna was getting sent to Paris.
Well, it mentioned in the Wikipedia write-up, but yeah, it was probably, either way, she was being sent somewhere. But yeah, in the Wikipedia write-up, it said she was going to be going to the Russian sector, which I'm like, oh, if that were the case, then that would have worked out just fine, because that's where Harry was hiding out. But yeah, if she were being sent to Paris, either way,
Yeah.
like she wasn't in trouble. It's not like he was saving her life. It just was. I don't know. It's like if Carl, the porter, would have been alive longer, would he have fallen in love with Carl? Like,
it's just if I'm around somebody for more than 72 hours, like it's gonna happen.
It's a thing. It's just a thing I have. So, but yeah, I get that.
Your wife could come too. Maybe, like,
I don't know.
I haven't known her for 72 hours yet. Right? All right, so I guess those are my two bads. Hey, Az, what's your
Okay, I looked this up because I was curious.
Okay.
The history of Vienna's sewer system. In 1739, it has here, Vienna is the only city in Europe to have fully sewered within the city walls.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, knowing that this is post-war Vienna, why are the sewers so clean?
It's the CGI scrub turds that we started with.
It's like
they were very pristine.
There was one comment. Painted made a comment about how it smelled down there, but let's not kid ourselves. It was sewer. But at no point was anybody covering their mouth. Like it wasn't like toxic.
Yeah.
But you look at it, and I was like, wow, it is just very clean. And so much running water.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's water everywhere. Like whooshing water.
Exactly. Like, this is a lot of water.
They have strong toilets there.
That's my huzz. Why are the sewers so clean in Vienna? I'm glad it was filmed in black. Yeah. And let's assume that there are a lot of flush toilets, meaning that at some point, a portion of that water had to be urine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I'm glad they filmed it in black and white because, like, as we were discussing earlier, good clean urine is red.
That's what my doctor tells me.
And that would have been just horrific. It would have been like The Shining.
Yeah. Well, as we were also chatting pre-show and through text and whatnot, how did that conversation? Okay, well, here's the quick backstory. So this morning,
trying to find a way to bring it in.
Yeah, Patreon subscriber Melissa L and I had to bring our child Beatrix to immediate care because she had some blood in her ear, and so I'm texting you from the immediate care, like, hey, what do you want to record, and trying to get everything lined up, and you were talking about like using like Q-tips. To clean.
It's a game you guys play.
Yeah.
Like, find the Q-tip.
Yeah. And so it switched to that. And my response was something along the lines of like, yeah, but the Q-tip's not where you think it is.
Yeah.
And so somehow we got onto the rant. I don't know, rant's not onto the storyline, I'll say, of using straw brushes to clean urethras.
Yeah, well, that's where you said you hide the Q-tip is in your urethra.
Urethra, yes.
And I'm like, that's one way to clean it. And you said you like to use a bristled straw cleaner.
Yes, a bristled straw cleaner. It's you got a scrub in there.
Mm-hmm. It's fair. And so we were talking that like, it's the buildup in your urethra that takes out all of the the red, which is. It's like if it's clear, that's the worst urine.
I know.
Yellow's better. Red's the best.
Uh-huh.
And if
I'm not satisfied until I can't see through my urine.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, like you kind of want to keep it going because you don't want it to clot up.
Yeah. The last thing you want is a clot in there.
Because granted, yes, the bulbousness would lead to some ego, but. It's going to backfire on you.
Well, literally, if that clot's in there, it might literally backfire on you.
And you don't want that.
No, you don't. Who wants that?
So I'm glad that it was filmed in black and white because there had to have been some good red urine in that sewer system somewhere. And that would have just been a cause for concern for modern day viewers. Because let's not kid ourselves, with so many microplastics that we have in our bodies, there's no way the average American has a clean urethra. There's just no way. It's the buildup of those microplastics that are breaking down your pristine red urine.
Pristine red urine.
You need that crimson flow.
It's a lot of hemoglobin in the urine. I'm also. We also came to the conclusion that whenever they cast the next Bond, at this point they're not.
Yeah.
I know it's leaning toward Aaron Taylor Johnson is the rumors I've been
Which
hearing.
is fine.
But we did come to the conclusion that the next Bond girl's name will be Urethra Hygiene.
I think that fits.
Yeah.
it definitely fits for the nether regions that they like to reference in their naming. So,
well, I mean, I think the next film is going to be set in the nether regions.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. it's a territory. It's a U.S. territory in the far South Caribbean.
They've actually, and it's like you go there, you feel like you're in the Netherlands. Like it's like spot on.
Even though it's in the Caribbean, it's
right. It's all the advantages of the Netherlands with all of the weather advantages of the Dominican or the Caribbean.
A lot of wooden shoes, lot of windmills.
Yeah, and they float because that's good because there's lots of water.
And urethra hygiene is there to keep everything safe and cleanly.
She probably runs a bordello or something.
Very dirty bordello,
like Dr. Holly Christmas, played by Denise Richards.
Denise Richards. Oh God,
she was a Bond girl.
I know she was. She was
named Dr. Christmas.
Yeah. Was it Die Another Day? I think she was.
I think so.
Yeah. Robert Carlyle was the bad guy. He couldn't feel any pain. That was.
I think they should bring Grace Jones back as a Bond girl. She'd be a good. Who would you cast as Urethra Christmas? As Urethra Hygiene.
Urethra Hygiene. Who would we cast? Oh God, I gotta think about this one. Tara Reid.
Okay. I'd probably go Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg as Urethra Hygiene. I mean, pretty much anybody from American Pie.
And her braids would double as her weapon.
Yeah. Thomas Ian Griffith, I think, as Urethra Hygiene.
Right. Shannon Elizabeth.
Eugene Levy.
That's fair. Although, making those references, it would probably end up being Stifler's mom Stifler's mom.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Jennifer Coolidge.
I can see that in like a Bond spoof.
Oh, she'd have so much fun with it.
Jennifer Coolidge as Urethra Hygiene. Stop.
We should maybe I'll DM her that. Movie idea. You playing Urethra Hygiene in a Bond spoof. And
it's
then
Top Secret Part 2.
You can have the idea, go find a writer, get it set up. You do it. And I don't even need anything from it. We'll just know that it started here.
Yeah. Maybe just a special thanks in the credits.
Yeah. Even at the bottom. Yeah. I don't fight with that. Let's put a QR code to our YouTube channel.
There you go. That would help us the most. There's just a QR code on screen in the bottom right corner the entire time.
That's all it is. Yeah. It's like the bug at the bottom there. Yeah. Jennifer Coolidge is Urethra Hygiene.
Urethra Hygiene.
What's your
My is hypothetically, and here's a challenge to our friendship. If I were to sell counterfeit medicine to sick children and I decide to deal you in, will you join me or sell me out?
No, I would not deal. I would sell you out.
Okay. Well,
if I weren't married with 2 children, I might change my answer, but in my current state, no.
What if they're already in on it with me? Because I went to them first.
It's their meningitis.
You're gonna get sick anyway, right. So you may as well work with
Oz me. Is gonna tell me no. Can you guys just help me out here? Yeah. If they're in on it, I'd help you out.
Okay. Well, that's the tactic I'll go. Then is I'll start with the family, and then I'll rope you in afterwards.
All right, flip that over. If it were my shenanigans, what would you do?
Oh, deal me in.
Oh, you'd be in?
Yeah. Oh yeah, deal me in.
Because you hate penicillin anyway.
I do. I hate modern medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm big conspiracy theorist. Drink bleach.
Yeah.
That's what number 45 said would get rid of stuff, right?
That's
just drink bleach.
Eat crystals.
Yeah. I mean, it really explains my urethra cleaning technique.
I'm more coming at this from a comedic angle. Do you think those who believe in alternative medicines and crystals or whatever, do you think they believe there's any healing power to like crystal light packets?
Or the crystal light dancers,
or that too. That's right. I just thinking like they've got just like a dull headache, so they just pour like some crystal light. It will do it. Like
I just had the mental image of a tiny, and it depends on perspective with the word tiny funnel, and dumping the crystal light directly into urethra.
That would be, it is Pride Month.
Mm-hmm.
That would be one way to add some rainbow to.
It would taste the rainbow.
All right, R. Kelly, moving on.
Hey, you lobbed me the softball. What else am I going to do with it? Right. I'm going to swing and miss, and then use the bat to hit the softball on the ground.
Well, you figure the R in Roy G. Bibb's already covered with the red. If you've got good clean urine,
it's definitely a dark maroon, like a nice dark red, like a Merlot,
like a nice crimson. But yeah, I think if you added a lemonade Crystal Light packet to your good clean urine,
it balances. It's all about the pH level.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. So yeah, if you stuck around this long, sorry.
This episode, man.
Yeah. Well, we had to talk serious about a great film.
I know. How do we have a serious conversation just about the third man?
So. All right. Well, what do we got next week? I think there's an opportunity for us a little bit more fun in next week's episode.
Yes. Yeah, next week, wrapping up Man Movie Month, is probably the only man movie we're doing this month that would fall into like a more stereotypical like man movie, guy movie kind of thing. And so we're going to wrap things up. We're going to wrap up Man Movie Month with 1993's Demolition Man, a movie that, and we'll get into this a lot more next week, I have an incredible amount of complicated feelings about.
Yeah.
It is such a fun movie, but if you look at the message the movie is sending, it is awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Oh, yeah.
So we will break down my mixed feelings about Demolition Man next week. Sans urethra talk.
Yeah, we've cleaned that out of our system now.
Literally and figuratively.
Social media-wise, you guys can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. There is a Patreon link down below. Like, subscribe, yada, 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 all those things you're supposed to do. We just enjoy that you're here with us and hanging out and hopefully laughing along with us.
And hope you come back after this one.
Yeah, exactly. Because we do have Demolition Man, and we'll also reveal next week what our July theme will be.
Yeah.
So, for another episode of Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
We'll see you guys next week with Demolition Man.
Urethra hygiene.